This word I will stand in on behalf of Reverend Tom Amalo comes from 1 John chapter 2, verse 8 to 11. I've taken an asap from it, and I'll read shortly. The darkness is passing away, and the true light already shines. He who says he is in the light and hates his brother is in the darkness, even until now. He who loves his brother remains in the light, and there is no occasion for stumbling in him. But he who hates his brother is in the darkness and walks in the darkness and does not know where he is going, because the darkness has blinded his eyes. The book of 1 John, most of it speaks about the light, walking in the light. And thank you very much, Michael, for sharing, walking in the light. We are living in a context where walking in the light is very important, and it is difficult to walk in the light if you do not love your brother. And when the scriptures talk about a brother or a sister, it is not just about my blood brother. It is not just about my blood sister. It is about sisterhood and brotherhood in the Lord Jesus Christ. Just the way here to you, Bless the World Initiative, we are a family. When our brother, Dr. Wakabi, was befallen with the grief through his younger brother, we showed love by sending messages of condolences. We walk in the light by showering each other with the love. And John says, the darkness is passing away and the true light already shines. In other words, the death of Christ on the cross was light in itself, because through the love of Christ to the world, he took upon himself the suffering of the world. He took upon himself the sins of the world. He took upon himself the venom of jealousy, revenge, and everything else that was supposed to be harbored in the hearts of God's people, so that God's people can love each other without any strings attached. In most cases, we want to love each other based on what we gain from one another. I noticed in a certain church group, I belong to the Reformed Church of East Africa, that when it comes to even just supporting each other with messages of condolences, people, our subgroup, people would send messages of encouragement, love, and so on, depending on who that person is. And sometimes it gets worse to the extent that people align to each other based on the language, based on the people group, based on the tribe, based on the class, based on the standards, and so on. So that when somebody has a problem, I will encourage that person, I'll comfort that person as if I am putting some money into the bank so that I can withdraw when I need it. And when I am not able to get back the love I was able to give to a brother or a sister, I'll feel very bad and I'll hate that person. The Bible teaches us tonight that the darkness is passing away and the true light already shines. The only problem is that we have refused to align ourselves into the light and to walk in the light. Most of the time, people will speak to each other with words that are soothing, words that feel like they are showering love, but inside they are harboring venom. In fact, wishing that this other person would stumble and fall. Many people will pretend that they are encouraging others, but inside their hearts, they are laughing at that person and wishing even the worst would happen to that person. We are encouraged that the darkness is passing away and the true light already shines. Those of us who trust in the living God, we should not hate each other. We are at the moment going near the electioneering period, and there is so much messages of peace and so on and so on. What causes instability when it comes to peace? It is hatred. It is when, like our brother Dr. Okabi preached one day and spoke about sense of entitlement. It is when some people think that they can use others once they have gotten what they want, they can dump them. When we are guided by hate, when we are guided by self-interest, when we are guided by selfishness, self-seeking, and objectify others and want to use others for our good, then it creates an opportunity for peace to slip away and for us to walk in the darkness of bloodshed, violence, constant cycle of hatred. I got an opportunity, I think it was last week, where I spoke about the family institution and the power of the unity of purpose. And I usually would love to speak about Western and the coastal area. And another revelation came to my mind, the sides of Kisii. And I realized that there is so much poverty in Western Kenya, in the coastal area, and even in Kisii and some other parts, if I have not mentioned, may the Spirit of God reveal to us. And this one I'm speaking because I walk in the light. And you will realize that the poverty is basically because of hatred from a brother to a brother, from a sister to a sister, because people are selfish and self-seeking. When a brother gets married, for example, the sisters of that brother will hate the wife because they see this one as an intruder who has come to like take away what they were supposed to be getting from the brother. And they will make the marriage of their brother a living hell. And it affects even the children who are their own blood relatives, and just because of the hatred towards the one they see as an intruder in the family. And because of that, so much time is spent on hatred and destabilizing that family, instead of spending the energy on loving and supporting the marriage, so that the little resources can even multiply and become a blessing to the family. And you realize that in most cases now, they will start telling their brother, this woman is a witch and so on. They will even bring another wife in the picture. And that way, the resources of their brother or their son gets divided. And sometimes instead of even that resources supporting the children, the biological children, the money starts going out. Why? Because of hatred. And even when the light of Christ has shined already, people walk in the darkness of poverty, in the darkness of violence, and some even go to the extent of looking for waganga and so on to try and destroy the marriage and so on. So that way people continue to walk in darkness and even worship idols because hatred is leading the way. And now because of hatred, instead of walking in the light of Christ and worshiping God, the people of God now walk in darkness and start worshiping idols. The marriage gets destroyed and poverty becomes the order of the day. And now God's people not only suffer physical, material poverty, they also suffer from spiritual poverty. And that is how the devil finds a way of even entering with the sicknesses, entering to destroy the lives of people, even through death. Because you see, when you go to a witch doctor and he knows that he has no powers over the lives of God's people, tomorrow he will tell you, because I gave you this and it is not working, now go and make sure you put this one in her food or something like that. What this other person may not realize, that could be poison. And then tomorrow you realize that the person has died. What was meant to be maybe, for example, a love potion or to be something that will make this other person to love the other one, continues to build a circle of hatred, continues to build a circle of darkness and both spiritual death and physical death enters into the family. He who loves his brother remains in the light, and there is no occasion for stumbling in him. But he who hates his brother is in the darkness and walks in the darkness and does not know where he is going. You see, the path of hatred blinds people, so that instead of walking towards the power of the cross of Jesus Christ, people blindly continue to drift away, far away from the power of the saving blood of Jesus Christ, and they now lose the life that was freely given by Jesus Christ through his death on the cross. We have been assured that the darkness is passing away. It doesn't matter the cloud of darkness that we might be seeing today, the panic, the confusion as we head towards election, maybe the confusion that might be in the family that you are in. If we stand still, trust in God, and refuse that our attention will not be distracted because of the hatred of those who have chosen the path of darkness, God will surely continue to lead us through the paths of the light of Christ, and we shall emerge victorious. Hatred leads to death, but love leads to life. Hatred leads to darkness, and darkness leads to death. But love leads to light, love leads to victory, love leads to triumph, love leads us to enjoy life and life in its fullness, as it is written in John chapter 10, verse 10. Look at how this verse is written. Even though it is written from a contextual point of view, darkness is passing away. You see, unlike darkness, light strikes once and immediately all the dark places turn into light, and you can be able to see everywhere, if it is in the room, for those who are privileged to have electricity. When you switch on electricity and it is at night, you are able to see every corner of the house. But you see, when night comes, it goes through a process before it is morning. So the darkness is passing away. So in other words, when you are in a period that is painful and you are struggling, especially surrounded by people who are full of hatred, do not struggle with them. Do not fight with them, because darkness is a process that passes away. In other words, it is a slow process that moves, taking a step at a time, but light strikes at once and guides somebody's path clearly, and you will not be able to stumble. So the darkness is passing away because the true light is already shining. It is morning because God has sent his son to die on the cross on our behalf. Let us not struggle with the darkness like people who are not in the saving arms of Christ, like the people of the world who are in the darkness and are stumbling already. But let us walk with confidence, with courage, because the light of Christ is already shining in our lives. Once we identify with Jesus Christ, we have declared war against the powers and principalities of darkness. And through the power of the light of the victory of Christ, who resurrected triumphantly, we are able to defeat every spirit of hatred through love. When people hate us, when people do evil to us, when people continuously envy us because of the grace of God in our lives, let us continue to show love where we are able to. Let us continue to defeat hatred through love. Let us continue to defeat darkness of the love of Christ. That is why when Christ was about to die on the cross, after he had finished the task that God had given him, Christ looked down and said, God, forgive them, because they do not know what they are doing. It is only those who walk in darkness that do not know what they are doing. It is only those who walk in darkness, whose eyes are blind, that without the light of Christ, they will stumble. But those whose the light of Christ is shining in their lives are assured of victory, and they will continue to take a bold step of faith at a time because they know that Jesus Christ is guiding their steps. And that is why in Romans, the just shall live by faith because they are guided by the light of Jesus Christ. Let love triumph in our midst. Let love guide our paths, even as we go towards election. Let love shine, even as those who are in leadership are taking advantage of the miseries of the vulnerable to have that they can sell with the higher prices after election. Let love shine, because everything that is gotten through darkness shall never benefit who got their wealth through corruption later on in their lives, begging for life, for help from people so that they can settle their medical bills. Why? When they had the power, when they had the resources, hatred and selfishness change, and it is God who alters the steps of every human being. If we walk in the light, Jesus Christ is light, we will be assured that it is not us altering our steps, it is Jesus Christ altering our steps. So that when people hate us, we should return words of love, because it is not us living, it is Jesus Christ living in us. So when they hate us, they are not hating us, they are hating the one who lives in us. May we put our trust in the light of Christ and trust God that his light will continue to shine in us. It is finished on the cross, so that through the suffering of Christ on the cross, the light of Christ will help us to love people unconditionally